Your body is on fire right now. And no, you probably can't feel it. Chronic inflammation is happening silently inside millions of people. It's behind joint pain, brain fog, bloating, fatigue, and yes, even heart disease and cancer. But here's what nobody tells you. 7 spices sitting in your kitchen right now can shut it down. Backed by science. Used for centuries. And most people completely ignore them. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to look at your spice rack very differently. Before we dive in, let me give you one number that'll put this in perspective. 7 out of 10. That's how many deaths worldwide are linked to chronic inflammatory diseases, according to the World Health Organization. Arthritis, diabetes, obesity, cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's, all have one thing in common: inflammation that wouldn't stop. Here's the kicker. You don't need a prescription to fight it. Nature already built the solution, and it smells incredible. Let's go through all 7, one by one. I promise, number 4 is going to genuinely surprise you. Spice number 1, turmeric. There's one spice that's been studied in over 12,000 scientific papers. This is it. Let's start with the heavyweight champion of anti-inflammatory spices, turmeric. The active compound in turmeric is called curcumin. And here's what makes it insane. Curcumin actually blocks a molecule in your body called NF-κB, a molecule that travels into the nucleus of your cells and switches on genes that trigger inflammation. Most pharmaceutical anti-inflammatory drugs target enzymes that NF-κB activates after the fact. Curcumin shuts the whole process down at the source. A 2009 study published in Biochemical Pharmacology found curcumin to be as effective as ibuprofen in reducing joint pain in osteoarthritis patients, without the stomach damage. But here's the catch most people miss. Curcumin on its own is poorly absorbed. Your gut barely processes it. You need to combine it with black pepper. The piperine in black pepper increases curcumin absorption by a staggering 2,000%. That's not a typo. So the next time you cook, add turmeric and black pepper together. That's not a coincidence, that's chemistry working in your favor. How to use it: add half teaspoon of turmeric plus a pinch of black pepper to your morning tea, smoothie, or scrambled eggs. Daily consistency matters more than quantity. Spice number 2, ginger. NASA studied this spice for nausea in space. But what it does to inflammation might be more impressive. Ginger has been used medicinally for over 2,500 years. But modern science is catching up fast. The magic compounds here are gingerols and showgales. Particularly when ginger is dried and heated, showgales form and they're twice as potent as gingerols in anti-inflammatory activity. A landmark study from the Journal of Pain in 2010 had participants consume raw or heated ginger daily for 11 days. The result? 25% reduction in muscle pain after exercise. That's comparable to taking aspirin, but without thinning your blood. Ginger also works on the same COX-2 pathway that ibuprofen blocks. COX-2 is an enzyme that tells your body to produce prostaglandins, molecules that trigger swelling, pain, and fever. Block COX-2, and you dial down the inflammation response. What's more, research from the University of Georgia shows that ginger directly reduces exercise-induced muscle damage, not just the soreness, but the actual cellular inflammation. How to use it: fresh ginger grated into hot water with lemon first thing in the morning. Or half a teaspoon of ginger powder into stir-fries, soups, or rice. Try it for 2 weeks straight and pay attention to your joints. If this is already changing how you think about your kitchen, hit that like button right now. And if you have a friend dealing with joint pain or inflammation, share this with them. You might literally change their health. Okay, keep watching, we're only halfway through and number 5 is going to stop you cold. Spice number 3, cinnamon. This spice lowers inflammation and blood sugar at the same time. Here's the exact type you need to buy. Here's something most people don't know: not all cinnamon is the same. There are 2 main types: Ceylon cinnamon, true cinnamon, and cassia cinnamon, the cheap kind most stores sell. For anti-inflammatory benefits, you want Ceylon. Cassia contains high levels of a compound called coumarin, which in large doses can be toxic to the liver. Ceylon cinnamon contains cinnamaldehyde, the compound that gives cinnamon its flavor and its power. Cinnamaldehyde suppresses arachidonic acid metabolism, which is a major pathway for inflammatory compounds called prostaglandins and leukotrienes. A 2015 meta-analysis in the Journal of the American College of Nutrition found that cinnamon supplementation significantly reduced C-reactive protein, which is the gold standard blood marker for systemic inflammation. And here's the bonus, a separate study found just 1 gram of Ceylon cinnamon daily lowered fasting blood sugar by up to 29% in type 2 diabetics. Because insulin resistance and inflammation feed each other in a vicious cycle, cinnamon tackles both at once. How to use it: half a teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon on your oatmeal, in your coffee, or blend it into a smoothie. Check the label, make sure it says Ceylon, not just cinnamon. Spice number 4, black seed, nigella sativa. Ancient Islamic texts called this a cure for everything except death. Scientists are now proving why. This is the one I promised would surprise you. Nigella sativa, commonly called black seed or kalanji, has been used in Middle Eastern, South Asian, and African medicine for over 3,000 years. But in the last 2 decades, it's become one of the most studied medicinal plants in the world. The active compound is thymoquinone, TQ, and the research on it is extraordinary. A 2013 study in the Iranian Journal of Basic Medical Sciences showed TQ inhibited multiple inflammatory pathways simultaneously, including NF-κB, COX-2, and a third pathway called 5-LOX, which most anti-inflammatory drugs don't even touch. Another study from phytomedicine found that black seed oil reduced symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis comparably to disease-modifying drugs, without the side effects. But there's more. Thymoquinone is also a powerful antioxidant. It neutralizes free radicals that fuel oxidative inflammation at the cellular level. It's anti-inflammatory and antioxidant at the same time. The reason most people in Western countries have never heard of this spice? It doesn't have a multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical company behind it. How to use it: half a teaspoon of black seed oil in the morning, straight or mixed into honey. Or sprinkle whole black seeds on bread, salads, or curries. Slightly bitter taste, but the benefits are worth it. Spice number 5, cayenne pepper. It burns going in, but here's what it does to pain signals in your nervous system. This one works completely differently from the others. And that's exactly why it belongs on this list. Cayenne pepper contains capsaicin, the compound that makes it hot. But capsaicin doesn't just create pain. It actually depletes your nervous system of a chemical called substance P, a neuropeptide responsible for transmitting pain signals from your tissues to your brain. Less substance P equals less pain perception equals less inflammatory response in the tissue. This isn't just theoretical. The FDA has approved topical capsaicin creams for the treatment of osteoarthritis, diabetic neuropathy, and post-surgical nerve pain. When applied to skin, it's potent enough to be used in clinical medicine. But eating cayenne internally also works. A 2016 study published in Critical Reviews in Food Science and Nutrition found that capsaicin reduced levels of TNF-alpha, a cytokine that's a direct trigger of inflammatory cascade in the immune system. And bonus, capsaicin boosts metabolism and increases thermogenesis. So it burns fat while it kills inflammation. That's a rare 2-for-1. How to use it: a pinch of cayenne pepper in warm lemon water every morning. Start small, your gut needs to adjust. Build up to 1/4 teaspoon over 2 weeks. Herb spice number 6, cloves. Dentists have used this for centuries. Here's what it does when it enters your bloodstream. Cloves are one of the highest antioxidant-rated spices on the planet. The ORAC score, which measures antioxidant capacity, of cloves is 290,000 per 100 grams. Compare that to blueberries at 4,669. Cloves win by a factor of 60. The key compound is eugenol, and it's a potent anti-inflammatory and anesthetic agent. That's why dentists have historically used clove oil for toothaches. Eugenol blocks COX-2 and also inhibits platelet aggregation, meaning it prevents blood from getting sticky and triggering the inflammation response in blood vessels. A study in the Journal of Immunotoxicology showed eugenol significantly suppressed the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines, the molecules that essentially call your immune cells to arms and tell them to keep attacking. Eugenol is also antifungal and antibacterial. So if gut inflammation is your issue, and it often is, Cloves attack the root cause directly by clearing bad bacteria from your digestive tract. How to use it: add 2 to 3 whole cloves to your tea or rice while cooking. Clove powder can go into chai, oatmeal, or even soups. A little goes a long way, they're strong. Spice number 7, rosemary. This kitchen herb crosses the blood-brain barrier. That's what makes it different from everything else on this list. Most anti-inflammatory compounds can't reach your brain. They work in your blood, your joints, your gut, but the blood-brain barrier blocks most of them from getting through. Rosemary's active compounds, rosmarinic acid and carnosic acid, can cross that barrier. And this is huge. Because brain inflammation is the root cause of cognitive decline, depression, Alzheimer's disease, and brain fog. A 2016 review published in Advances in Experimental Medicine and Biology found that carnosic acid in rosemary protects brain cells from oxidative damage and suppresses neuroinflammation, inflammation specifically inside the brain. Rosmarinic acid is also a potent inhibitor of lipoxygenase, an enzyme that creates inflammatory compounds that damage DNA and accelerate aging. And one more thing, a study from Northumbria University found that simply being in a room infused with rosemary aroma improved memory performance by 15%. The compound responsible, 1,8-cineol, was found in participants' blood after exposure. This herb doesn't just reduce inflammation. It protects your brain as it does it. How to use it: fresh rosemary in olive oil as a marinade. Dried rosemary into roasted vegetables. Or rosemary-infused tea 3 times a week. You'll notice the mental clarity. Here's the truth: you don't need to use all 7 at once. Start with 3. The most research-backed combination for daily use? Turmeric plus black pepper in the morning. Ginger in your afternoon tea. Cinnamon on your breakfast. That's it. 3 simple additions to your existing routine that have centuries of use and decades of clinical research behind them. Inflammation doesn't build up in a day, and it doesn't disappear in a day either. Give your body 21 days. Blood markers like C-reactive protein typically respond within 3 weeks of consistent dietary changes. You don't need expensive supplements. You don't need a prescription. You need consistency and knowledge, and now you have both. If you made it to the end of this video, you're the kind of person who actually wants to change their health, not just think about it. So here's your next step: pick just one spice from this list and commit to it daily for the next 7 days. That's all. 1 spice. 7 days. Comment below and tell me which one you're starting with. I read every single comment. And if you found real value here today, share this video with one person you care about. One share could genuinely change someone's quality of life. Subscribe if you're new, because we put out evidence-based health content that your doctor probably doesn't have time to tell you. I'll see you in the next one.